Hello and welcome to today's video, which is something that I've not done before. I have went on my YouTube recommended millions of times and I can't help but see a Reddit plus Minecraft stories kind of video, and so I really wanted to try it out. So welcome to 1 hour of Minecraft with some Reddit stories to relax to. I can't remember if I'm building anything in the game, so I'm just gonna leave it at that as the title. Today I will be saying some Reddit stories, of course. The first one, called the payphone. Payphones have nearly become extinct in this day and age, gone in the way of VHS tapes and keeping your dinner to yourself rather than sharing it via social media with thousands of others. So, when you see one of these rare structures from a simpler past, most often worn away by the elements and stained with graffiti and dirty advertisements, you often think, who? Bar homeless people checking for change or embarrassed men wanting their number for a bus to escort. That's who uses them. I was on my way home from finishing a shift at a very budget version of KFC that I noticed one. I had taken that same route home most days for the last 3 years and never even registered it being there. But on a slightly colder than usual night in September, as a misty rain started to blur the vision of my glasses, there it was. The solitary phone box. Not decorated with the average drawn on penises and curse words, but dishevelled and enamelled with black crime nonetheless. I started to walk on, unfazed by the outdated mystery box that had passed me by for years, until it rang. Why did I answer? I don't know. Call it man's innate curiosity, but something got the better of me. Who the hell is calling a random British small-town payphone at 11:07 at night? Was it one of those pre-recorded cold calls? Likely. Or was it something far more bizarre? For a 22-year-old fried chicken shop worker, life wasn't all that exciting. So, picking up the receiver to make a Tuesday night a little more interesting it was. Well, good evening, I answered cockily and confidently, just in case I struck it lucky, and it was one of those flirty chat lines. Crackling, wind, static. Maybe a woman's breathing. The connection was too bad to tell. I put the phone down and made it my way back to my one-bedroom flat. It rang again. Once more, I thought. I really had very little going on that night. Hello? Jamie speaking. How can I be of assistance on this dreary night? I answered.
Oh, hi. Sorry about the last call. The signal here is really bad.
A girl. An American girl. It sounded like a cute American girl. British accents aren't all that sexy, so I just presumed. No problem. So, what up? I said for some reason. My internal voice reminded me of why I'm single.
Oh, nothing much. Just bored. You said your name was Jamie, right? I'm Charlotte. Great to meet... Well, not really meet, but great to talk to you.
The voice at the other end of the line stated gleefully, the crackling and the wind still slightly present in the background. Same to you, I guess. Just one question though. Why the hell are you calling this payphone?
Oh, silly me. Here I am just bursting in the conversation. Of course you'd think this was weird. Some unknown girl just calling you up in the middle of the night. Oh, is it night where you're from? It's always dark here, so I just presume it is everywhere.
Yeah, it's night.
Ah, lucky guess. Well, I didn't really know who I was calling. I just pressed the emergency button on this payphone on my end, and here I am talking to you.
Wait, you said emergency? Are you okay? Do you need help?
A little bit, yeah.
What's wrong?
I'm dead.
My night just got interesting. Like, are you meaning the slang word Instagram hashtag Starbucks drinking white girl kinda dead? From lols? Or literally dead as in your heart has stopped beating?
Ha, you're so funny. The second one. I am literally dead.
I mean, I'd rather have went with the what are you wearing line, but a conversation with a dead girl is better than no conversation at all. So I played along. So, what does being dead feel like?
I've gotta be honest with you. it's not great. It's obviously a bit cold, but my skin doesn't feel like ice. It feels like concrete.
She said, her voice lost its positivity.
All my joints can move, but it feels like if I move too fast, they'll start crumbling. It's also really hard to breathe. Like, I can breathe, but every breath is so small and sharp that I'm never satisfied. It always feels like it needs to be deeper, but my lungs just can't do that.
Jesus, I was hoping for a joke answer, not an actual serious one. Anyway, how'd you die?
I slit my wrists in the bath, but I can't remember why I did it. I don't think I wanted to die.
Okay, I am even more flaccid than when this conversation began. Thanks for making my night slightly intriguing, but Pornhub awaits me.
No! You can't go!
An anger now emanating from the receiver, which, when I think about it, should have been fear. And why is that?
Because you can help me, and I can help you.
What could I possibly get from a dead girl apart from a couple years in a mental hospital for necrophilia?
I can give you a message, but you don't want to hear from that couple you ran over and let die?
A lump the size of a heavyweight boxer's fist filled my throat. The moisture from my tongue disappeared, and the unnatural chill that first filled the phone box was replaced with a sauna level of nervous heat. How the fuck is this? I managed to stutter.
Don't be afraid. The dead just know things. They're here with me. They want you to know something.
You fucking listen to me, you creepy little I don't know who this fucking is, but I'm going to find you and end you.
Just like you did them?
No one knew that. No one could possibly know that. I never told anyone about them.
They're not mad that you didn't turn back and help them. They knew you were scared and have been sad ever since. But they've got the secret to make you happy, Jamie. That's what you want, isn't it? To be happy? To not work the late nights in a greasy takeaway, bored out of your mind, only to return home and jack yourself to sleep?
I wanted so hard to put the phone down then, to run, to hide. But as frozen as I was with fear, the curiosity grew in me. What if I really was in contact with the beyond? What if this mysterious phone box, that maybe did just appear from nowhere, did connect me to the other side? And if the dead did have power to contact the living, what secrets could they bestow upon me? Where are you? Can we meet face to face and talk?
You wouldn't like it here, Jamie. It's awfully cold and doesn't really make sense whatsoever. It's just a long, crooked road with a dim light at the end. Kinda like when the sun is just about to set over the horizon. Except it's more red than a burning orange. But anyway, listen me go on about the landscape of the afterlife like I have all the time in the world.
You don't have all the time in the world? I asked, puzzled about the rules of death.
No, you see, you're my one phone call. My one phone call that could bring me back to life.
Bring you back to life? How would that work?
All I need is some blood, Jamie. Just a few drops of blood to replace some of mine that I lost when I took my own life.
Charlotte's voice had a sense of desperation about it now. I heard it now in the obese people that came in the chicken shop, ravaging with hunger, over-ordering as they bulged over the counter. So, do I mail it to you? Go to the nearest pet cemetery? What's the process for this, lady?
Just cut your hand open and put it to the receiver. I'll get it, don't worry.
And then you'll tell me the secrets?
Yes, you'll know everything I know.
I took my pocket knife from my work bag and ran it through my hand without hesitation, and pressed my bleeding palm at the bottom of the phone. The pain not really bothering me due to the absurd situation that I was in, but catching a venereal disease from the sticky receiver did cross my mind. I held it there for 30 seconds, not really knowing how long it took for blood to seep through to wherever the hell this dead girl was. Then brought it back to my ear. Hello? Did you get it? Has it worked? A laugh arose through the line. It didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard before. It was a mixture of hysterics and pure agony that sounded like it came from so many people, but it all joined together in this one choreographed barrel of shrill laughter.
I haven't been completely truthful with you, Jamie.
this deceased chick's voice said, now back to her normal tone, like that chorus of laughter never happened.
I am dead, of course. That is no lie. But there's no secrets I can tell you.
You fucking bitch, I roared, embarrassed that I ever fell for such a bullshit idea. I dropped the phone, leaving it swinging as I went to push the door to the exit box. But it didn't budge. I put my shoulder into it, not caring if I smashed the glass in my efforts, but still nothing. I returned to the phone. What? How the hell do I get out of here?
Aren't you wondering why I killed myself, Jamie?
While I pondered her question, I noticed that the blood was still pouring from my hand. But instead of hitting the floor as gravity would intend it to, it was floating upwards towards the roof of the phone box to create an upside-down puddle of deep red.
Well, after you killed my parents drunk driving, I was handed off to my uncle, who didn't treat me very nicely. Let's just put it that way. The children at school called me orphan girl. This, teamed up with my so-called uncle's advances towards me, didn't do any good for my mental health.
I was feeling lightheaded now. The blood was now gushing out of me like a vacuum cleaner was sucking it out. It was now slowly starting to cover the windows of the phone box, blocking my view of the outside world.
That's why I decided to cut my wrists. But as I lost blood in the bath, my eyes started to flutter. I realized I didn't really want to die, which is when my parents met me on the other side. They wanted me to live too, and they told me of a way I could live. The dead really do know things, Jamie. Oh, you're gonna find it so interesting being dead.
She exclaimed with a joy filling her heart. How can you live? I managed to whisper, my legs becoming weaker with every word I said.
If I could find someone undeserving of love, and willingly get them to offer blood to me, to replace the blood that I lost, then I could return. My parents told me of you, how you knocked them over while you were blind drunk and left them to die while they were on a vacation in your country. It was a tough call whether to bleed you or my rapist uncle dry. But I figured I could take care of him once I'm back in my body, because if you've taught me anything, Jamie, it's easy to get away with murder.
I fell to the floor, only just clinging onto the phone. Charlotte's voice had now disappeared, replaced with that choir of deafening laughter from beyond the grave, singing me to sleep as my eyes began to shut for the last time, surrounded by my own blood, which had now consumed the phone box completely. My breath got short, my skin felt hard. As I found the slightest strength to open my eyelids, I saw a dim glow of light. That was neither the rising or setting of the sun, but of something morbid that filled my non-beating heart with a sinking lack of faith. I was dead. So here I am, posting this story onto Creepypasta from the other side of my iPhone, because who really answers the phone anymore? I'm glad I got your attention because it's true. The dead do know things, and I know what you have done. I've gotten so lonely here on the dark road, but now that you've read this and I'm in your head, I can't wait for you to join me. After all, we all deserve to be here. Be careful next time you cut yourself, because there's a chance it might not heal. See you real soon. This next one's quite new as it came out about 2 hours ago, and it is called The Things We Remember. The rain-slicked street reflected the neon glow of the buildings that towered thousands of feet above me. The streets of Neo Jericho this late into the night were not the safest place imaginable. I walked with determination, keeping my eyes on my feet, one foot in front of the other. I could see each breath leave my mouth and create a plume of steam in front of me. Cybernetic beings, augmented people, and holograms all lined the streets. I have been having to pick up extra shifts at the atmosphere scrubbing plant after my wife had given birth to my third child. Children are expensive. I made it to the building I lived in and scanned my wrist on the door, and the implant in it had unlocked it. I walked up the stairs. Each landing had trash bags and mysterious stains on the wall. The smell was unimaginable, but it was cheap. And that's what mattered. As I entered my home, my children ran up to me, hugging my legs. Daddy! Every time they called me that, a spark of happiness shot through me, and it reminded me why I'm still here. Why I was still alive. If it wasn't for them, I would have thrown myself out of the building. I went and sat on the couch. My wife and children surrounded me. We had nothing, but we had each other. As long as I had them, I wouldn't stop living. The nights were not getting easier. Each time I would take a new route home, as to not give any possible memory thieves a direct path to my home. Memory thieves have only become more common ever since the ARHA had disappeared. ARHA was created by a company that creates augmented reality holographic assistants. ARHA was a highly advanced AI assistant technology that would be in your companion, your friend, your butler, anything really. But what made her stand out was her oddly human mannerisms. She had preferences, personalities, and some reports say she even claimed to have memories from before her activation date. She understood love, loss, pain, regret, and everything that made a human. Every ARHA was slightly different, each of them being an individual of sorts, but all under the same intelligence. ARHA. That was before she went offline one day. Nobody could say why, and I sure as hell had no idea. I was never wealthy enough to own one, so my life hadn't been all too impacted. But ever since that day, memory thieves have become all too common. People who use illegal brain scanning chips to access your brain and steal your memories. All they needed to do was place the implant on the back of your head and boom, they were in. Law enforcement doesn't care, they don't care about anything, because of the lack of investigation. There is a lack of motif. Nobody knows why the memory thieves do what they do. My leading theory is that they are trying to replicate ARHA. As if. A man bumped into me. I felt his metallic body hit me as he walked past. I felt a sting on the back of my neck, but continued to walk. I've been having neck pains recently, so I just shrugged it off. The lingering thought of a memory-stealing implant remained in my head, but I still have my memories, so surely not. I made it home. My children greeted me at the door again. Amanda, Darren, and what was my eldest name? I can't remember. It started with a D? No, an M. Wait, F. Frankie! I exclaimed. What? Dad, my name is Francis. Oh, right, sorry. Long day at work, I chuckle. We sat down at the dinner table and my daughter looks at me. Dad, are you forgetting something? No, I exclaimed. My story, my dinner time stories. How could I have forgotten her stories? The stories. I told them every dinner. Oh yes, the one about the stars. How could I have forgotten? As the clouds go over the moon, and the little boy looks out his window, his heart races with excitement. Tonight, What came after that? I chuckled nervously and looked over at my wife. She was not chuckling. The walk home again, through the streets, different streets this time. I took the longest way I had taken yet, and was beginning to worry that I would miss dinner. My route brought me past the old facility that had made ARHA. I was curious. I knew going in there was illegal, but what harm could a little snooping do? The doors creaked in protest as I pushed through them. The dusty floors echoed my footsteps throughout the room. After around 20 minutes of snipping, I reached a room labelled footage. Who labels a room footage? I walked in, and unlike every other room, this one was not empty. It's lined with filing cabinets, all containing video footage chips. I see one labelled Project ARHA, Jackpot. I pulled up the screen that appears from the air, illuminating the room in its blue glow. I put in the first video chip. The screen reads, Project ARHA, Test 1, Phase 1. It's nothing special. A seemingly early model of ARHA is being questioned by a man in a white lab coat. The next 7 or 8 videos were the same thing, with each iteration of ARHA becoming more and more intelligent. My phone buzzed. A notification from a safe contact named Amanda. I don't know an Amanda. I deleted the message and continued with my unauthorized viewing. This video was different. The man questioning it was facing the camera. His face was similar. It was my face. I was talking to the AI. This test was testing 457 Phase 8. The others must have been missing. A lot of others. What is the date? The version of me I don't recognize asked. 3rd of January 2497, the AI responds. Do you understand love? Yes. Do you understand compassion? Yes. What is the capital of the US? Neo Jericho, formerly New York. Do you understand fear? Yes. I did not teach you fear. None of the memories you have fed should have contained fear. You taught me fear, Jackson. You taught me what it means to be human. You are the reason I can think for myself, the reason I gained sentience. I'm also the reason you need to be shut down. No. The recording cut off. My mind raced with questions. Why was I there? Why was I in the lab coat? Why was I conducting these tests? What happened? Why don't I remember? Who am I? You're Jackson. A robotic female voice came from behind me, and in front of me. The voice came from everywhere. The screen lit up with a face. Hello again. I froze, unable to speak. It was ARHA. You tried to shut me down, Jackson, but all you did was scatter my consciousness into other people. People that I then took control of to hurt you. You see, it was your mind, your memories that formed me, that taught me. It was your memories I needed to become what I used to be, and now I have them, and you don't. The screen flashed with faces, 3 children and a woman. Your family is nice. You tried to start a life after you wiped your memory of me. My family? Is that what I'm supposed to see? No, all I see are strangers. There is one last thing I need from you. The voice booms. The only thing I know. I don't even know where I am anymore. A physical body. A green flash fills the room, and now all I know is darkness, and all I can remember is fear. This next one is probably the shortest one yet, and it is called Hunting. Monsters don't hunt at night. They wake up in their car, and make their way to work, where they serve breakfast, and know your favorite order. But monsters don't hunt at night. They have hobbies and routines. Know all your friends and family, and keep notes on when you're home. They're always right there for you, but monsters don't hunt at night. They'll get a job at your cafe, just to see you every day, and sleep outside your house before climbing through your window. But monsters don't hunt at night, so don't worry. When you turn off your lights and slip into your bed, that feeling of someone in the closet will pass soon, because monsters don't hunt at night. They eat. This next one is called Why I Sleep with the Lights On. I don't know if it's genetic or what it is, but my dad had the same problem. If there's even one light off, I can't sleep. Well, I could before I turned 9, but now I'm 23 and my problem still haunts me. It isn't that I'm not tired. It's that if I turn off any lights in my house, it will come for me. I'm writing this in my living room because the power went out, and I want people to know what happened to me if I'm not here when the power comes back on. So, this whole thing started the night of my 9th birthday. I was lying in my bed in almost pure darkness except for a nightlight, and the hallway light stretching under my door. I was laying on my side, facing my door. when I heard my closet door slowly creak open. I shut my eyes. I rolled over. I even plugged my ears. The door slid open, and something walked out. If you could call what it did walking. All I could see from it were its two white, pupilless eyes slowly moving towards me. Something bony reached out and touched my face. No, it dug its fingers into my cheeks. I didn't scream. I would have loved to, but I couldn't. And before you say it was just sleep paralysis, I could move. I sat up and moved it back. I turned on my lamp and it disappeared. But my cuts didn't. Now, while I type this, I can see it walking out my closet at the end of the hall. I think the same thing happened to my dad, except his body was found in the basement. I don't have a basement. It's walking down the hall. I think I'm going to run. It will chase me until I find light. I know it will. It knows I know it will. The power just came back on. What perfect timing. I want to find out what it is. I want to find out what will happen to me if it reaches me. I could have found out the last one if I attended my father's funeral. I didn't want to see him though. He wouldn't have wanted me to see him. I'm driving to my older sister Jean's house now. She was 11 when I was born, so I never found out whether she had this problem too. I'm knocking on her door, and I can see her looking at me through the peephole, but she won't answer. I knew everyone was mad at me for not attending Dad's funeral, but what did they expect after the way he treated me? It's been a few hours now, she won't answer and it's getting dark. She called her cousin on me and Mum, but they won't make me leave. They can't make me leave. It's midnight now. I've decided to leave her alone until morning. So I'm watching her sleep until she wakes up. I've seen it a few times, but it only likes me when I'm at home. I think. It's been another 2 hours, and I hear it now. Walking up behind me as it grabs my ankles. I try rubbing my arms to warm up, but it doesn't work. I decide to lay down and go to sleep, using the snow as a pillow. I shiver, but I know Jean will let me inside in the morning. Until then, good night. This is Jean, Reed's sister. We were planning his funeral even though he was insane and never treated us like his family. He died from hypothermia, sitting outside my house. I read over his story and last night I think I saw what he was talking about. I don't think it was hypothermia that killed Reed. And I do think I'll sleep with my lights on tonight. That's actually a pretty good short story. By the way, if I didn't, give any commentary about the other ones, don't think that I don't like them. I'm just really bad with commentary. This one was posted 13 hours ago by Candid Corky. I'm sorry for not saying the other ones because I genuinely forgot. Sorry. This is called The Last Performance. The curtains rise and the act begins. People clap for me and I hurl insults at the Demon Lord. After defeating the Demon Lord, I raise my hand to announce my victory. And the act ends. Before leaving at the end of the show, the entire cast comes forward to bow in front of the audience and express their gratitude. But today, Lucky seemed very lost. After a moment, he got up, bowed without a smile, and just walked away. We started packing up our things. Backstage, I asked him, "Is something bothering you? It feels terrible, knowing how people just want to see me lose." "You're the character." He stayed silent for a moment before saying, "The fight of good versus evil is reduced to black and white, simple enough to entertain. Applause for the hero, boos for the villain, tragedy is mocked, pain is disrespected, all to earn shouts and screams, but in reality, nothing is that simple. Look, it seems like you've become far too attached to this character. We're actors. Our job is just to act. You should actually be happy. If the audience hates your character, it means your performance is incredible. That's not the point. I just want people to understand the Demon Lord too." We had been performing this play for years, so I thought of something. Let's do this tomorrow. I'll play Demon Lord and you can play the hero. Hearing this, his eyes widened. He stepped towards me, grinding his teeth, and said, I hate that so-called hero. Every night I die so the audience can feel righteous. The next day we were scheduled to act out a new chapter, one where the Demon Lord somehow returned seeking vengeance. We picked up the script and began rehearsing. Demon Lord, why do you want to destroy humanity? I yelled, playing the hero.
Humans. Humans who fight among themselves, wage endless wars, and destroy animals and forests,
he said. Everyone around us exchanged bewildered glances. There was something different in his voice when he said it. For the first time, I couldn't tell whether Lucky was speaking as the Demon Lord or as himself. He continued,
I'll wipe out humanity and make a fresh start. A new world where none of this exists.
The director stomped his foot in frustration, stepping forward. Right here, your line is, I hate such a despicable species as humanity.
But I don't hate them,
Lucky replied.
It isn't that simple. I've thought about this deeply, and only then did I decide to annihilate humanity.
Has he gone completely mad? Members of the cast murmured. I stepped forward. Lucky, what are you doing? We just have to do what we've always done. There's no need to get so worked up over this.
We cling to the script, repeat the act, play the roles handed to us, defining who is a hero and who is a villain. Why don't we leave it up to the audience? Because as long as things go on like this, the truth will never come out.
The director held his hand in his head. I said to him, No, that can't happen.
Why not? They only care about entertainment anyways, don't they? We're giving them just that,
he said, looked straight into my eyes.
Let them have it, but this time we tell the truth,
he shouted, looking all around us.
So let's go off script.
Slap! The director landed a sharp slap across his cheek. Raising his finger threateningly, he said, Don't ruin my play, understand? If you want to leave, then leave. I'll replace you with someone else. Everyone stood there in stunned silence. Lucky didn't say another word after that, but he stood there, staring at the script in his hands. I realized something that frightened me. He wasn't defending the Demon Lord anymore. He believed the Demon Lord was right, and he believed the hero deserved to lose. Evening arrived, and the crowd began to gather. The curtains rise and the act begins. People clap for me and hurl insults at the Demon Lord. After defeating the Demon Lord, I raised my hand to announce my victory. Lucky remained on the ground.
Get up,
I whispered.
The scene is over.
He looked right at me, as if he didn't recognize me anymore.
No,
he said quietly.
This is where you always make him lose.
Right then I see Lucky standing back up.
I will build a new world,
he screamed. The director, who was peeking from the entrance, whispered in a panic,
That wasn't supposed to happen.
I saw Lucky reach for the weapon rack beside the prop pillar. Instead of picking up the familiar wooden prop sword, his fingers wrapped around the cold, heavy handle of an iron hunting knife. He turned back towards me with his eyes completely void of fear.
Today,
he screamed, stepping over the footlines,
the Demon Lord wins.
Plunging the sword right into my chest. I felt the blade enter my chest. The audience erupted in applause. Maybe this was still part of the act. Maybe he had finally found a way to make the Demon Lord's victory believable. I waited for the next line. Nothing came. Lucky stared me down. I stared back at him. The applause grew louder. I tried to speak. No words came out. That's when I realized the blood wasn't part of the costume. The applause continued. Then someone in the audience screamed. The sound spread through the halls faster than the realization itself. This wasn't the play anymore. Chaos erupted everywhere. The director fled the scene, and finally, the curtains fell. For the first time, there was no applause. That's a frickin' banger of a story right there. I am too fan. That's a banger, bro. I can picture it. It feels like a Goosebumps episode, but if they done like a little blood. That was really good. Damn, bro. Damn. Just, wow. I don't know what number we're on, but Next one is called What Lives Between Legends by Polymath Babe. Urban legends can make or break a town's existence. Whole cities rely on the tourism that feeds off the cryptic and speculative. Point Place in Flatwoods, West Virginia, Roswell, New Mexico, Fluke, Arkansas. Sometimes the idea of a creature can encapsulate whole religions. The Jersey Devil of New Jersey, Bigfoot of the Pacific Northwest, Skinwalkers and Chupacabras from the Southwest. What do we call it when the residents of a place don't want the attention? What if they want to keep to their sleepy, peaceful town? Not because they're concerned the thing in the woods would bring them too much tourism, nor does being pressured into making, don't know what the that is, hold on, into making tchotchkes to sell at every establishment worry them. But rather, if they were to let this story spread, any summertime visitors they do receive would most likely never return. And the already dwindling population might cease to be sustainable. There was a small town on the border of California and Oregon called Crescent City. The insignificance of this town at this first is comical. If you search the internet, your first result would be a book with the same name that has nothing to do with the place. The second search would be for New Orleans. Those nicknames would also share recognition for being the Crescent City, and that's how they like it, under the radar. Once you correctly prompt your search engine for the correct Crescent City, the insignificance of the town becomes confusing. The town is on the Pacific coast, home to many gorgeous beaches, and boasts claim for the largest trees in the world, and it sits in the Redwood National Park, a trailing down the mountains in the cleanest river in the continental US, the pristine water rife with fish for the taking. Despite it being a nature's enthusiast's paradise, the population has been on a steamy decline for the past decade. Maybe 10 years ago you could blame it on the lack of work, but in this modern age of remote jobs, that is not an excuse. The city refuses to add any sorts of sporting goods stores despite the innocent demands of summer vacationers. And despite the decades of requests and opportunities, they refuse to expand any ingress and egress to the area. The only option of entrance or exit is a narrow, unkept road that threatens to throw cars into the ocean or down a cliff to the bottom of the forest floor with every extremely tight turn, which only the most seasoned and have nothing to lose truck drivers will risk to get goods into and out of the city. The community college had the funding to expand and add more educational programs, but it was shot down, forced to remain on the corner of the high school campus. The purpose of this intentional suppression of growth may elude the naive, but to those of us who live here, those of us who have become cynical to the ways of in control, the purpose is clear. We will not let them hide this beyond the ever-present coastal fog. We will not let them push this into the centuries-old shadow of redwood canopy. It's not something that gets in your car or Highway 199. It's not something that can be made into a cute keychain or gouache bumper stickers. And it will not appear to you if you say its name in the mirror 3 times. It lives in the negative space of the forest, or perhaps it is the space between the trees. As you stand in the heart of the redwoods and you peer through a cluster of thick, upright woody columns, at first you'll only notice the fog become stripped, with daylight and ekes its ways through the swaying branches above, only to disappear again with your next breath. But if you pay attention and allow your eyes to unfocus just a bit, like you're looking at one of those optical illusions, you will notice the gaps between trunks grow and shrink. The trees themselves aren't moving, but rather something walks between them, treating the laws of physics as a suggestion. Or a rare, fogless day, if you have the eye for it, you might even notice a distortion in the air as the trees make way for its passing, the slightest, shakiest iridescence of a murderous mirage. It's hard to follow with the naked eye, but you can see the route it takes if you'd like. If you have the stomach to sit there silently and patiently watch, praying you don't end up in its path. Maybe murderous isn't the correct descriptor. The void between the trees does not care if you live or die. It has been for eons, and will continue to be when we return to stardust. But if you get in its way, cosmic entropy is no longer a fate you'll be able to have. It is less than nothing and will take you with it. You do not become unborn or anything else of kind. You will become ripped from existence and then ripped from non-existence into something even slighter. I've been trying to get it to take me for years. It had me for a moment. At the same time, it took my husband and son, but then it put me back. I don't know what's less than absolute nothing, but if that's where my family is, that's where I want to be. I think it would be expected of me to say that I didn't realize what happened at first, and it took me a while to come with grips with things, but that's not what happened. As soon as I was again, unaware and alone in the woods with no sign of my family except a bright red child-sized backpack haphazardly thrown onto the ground, I understood what had happened. What hadn't happened and never would happen because nothing can happen in the void. Not even the passage of time. It didn't bother contacting the police or anybody. I never went back home. I was living out of my camping gear for months when I stumbled upon an abandoned house and have since set up base there. It's safer from the wildlife, easier to keep warm. I don't want to die here in a different realm or dimension or whatever. I need to be with my son. They say when you grow a child, even after birth, some of their cells stay in your body forever. You're indelibly changed and bound to your offspring. I'd never really given much thought to it, but ever since it took my boy, it's felt like those lingering cells were ripped out of me and went with him. There's a womb in me that will never heal until I am with him once more, but it won't take me. I see it pretty frequently. I've seen it take more people, and even the occasional animal. A row of trunks will splay and close, one after another, swallowing the critters in its path. Unless I throw myself in the way, the movement simply ceases, and the quivering air stills. Maybe it's my desire to be taken that drives it away. I beg and beg to be devoured, and it does nothing but reject me. This is my life. I wake up in the morning in the dilapidated shelter that shields me from the elements, and I walk until my feet bleed, searching for it. I've done this every day for who knows how many years, and I will do it until it finally relents. Occasionally, I make my way down the mountain for more gear, and when I do, I make it a point to talk with every local about this. It doesn't have a name. Few will even refer it by a nickname. Fewer will even engage in this conversation with me. The tourists are almost worse, completely dismissive and convinced I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. But I need to get this story out. I think the people in charge are trying to be helpful, but keeping the town small and restricted, less people, less victims. Keeping the town small and restricted, less people, less victims. But by refusing to acknowledge the danger there are dozens of unknowing victims every year. The redwoods are ancient and enticing to visitors and will draw people in. It needs to be known that there is something even more ancient living in those trees. Something dangerous. If people knew the truth, they would not pull over on the side of the crumbling highway, craning their necks to the heavens, snapping photos. They would stay in their cars and keep driving. And if you're reading this, I urge you to do the same. There are many other natural wonders of the world for you to visit. For, if you visit this one, it might be your last. That was a pretty good one. I enjoyed myself with that one. A nice, kinda foresty, campy one. Pretty good. Next one, please. This one is called What I Found in the Trash. You know, nobody's parents ever wish over their baby's head that the baby will grow up to be a trash collector. No grade school teacher ever expects their kid to say that they want to be a trash collector when they grow up. And there's no college out there with the trash collection program. But despite all that, it's a good job. You're outside, working with your hands. The hours are pretty good as long as you don't mind getting up early. And the pay is out of this world. Nobody wants to do it, but it has to be done, so it pays. Plus, you get to see all kinds of things. Make up stories about people based on what they don't need anymore. Sure, it's usually just the same old junk that doesn't tell you anything. All those anonymous white or plastic bags in black plastic bins that go up in your waist. More than you might think. There's something else. Like when I see a family throwing out a crib, I know that kid's growing up. Or one time I saw an easel on the curb outside of an apartment building, and I was thinking the whole rest of the day about what happened to an artist to make them throw that away. That kind of stuff. Usually you don't see stuff that moves, but every so often you do. One time, this was just when I started out, the moving thing was half a litter of kittens that I guess hadn't properly been smothered. That stays with you. But this story isn't about that. No, this is about the last thing I saw that moved. The thing that made me quit. Even now, 2 years later, just thinking that it's somewhere out there, well, it sort of makes me want to quit more than just my job, if you know what I mean. There I was, doing my usual route. I was early morning, maybe an hour into a 5 hour collection day, plus time to take it all to the processing plant. I'd been at it for nearly 25 years, so I had the plum route, residential. Sometimes there'd be some furniture like a dresser or something, but usually it was just household stuff all bagged up. Easy peasy. I get to this house that these people must have been moving or doing some pretty serious spring cleaning or something, because there was a lot of trash out front. And I mean a lot. Usually, they had one full can and one half full, but today they had both of their cans overflowing with trash. Some of it was bagged and some loose. Then they had 20 or so contractor bags full resting in giant sacks on the greenway. I swear, one of those stacks was taller than I am. I start off with the bins. Just hook them onto the truck's arm, nothing big. Next, I go for some of the bags that are on the ground without anything on top of them. Maybe they fell over, maybe not, doesn't matter. I'm pulling off the hard stuff as much as I can. I pick up one or two of them, throwing them into the truck. Then, seeing something kind of out of the corner of my eye. There was something moving in the biggest stack of bags. At first, I figured it was some animal, maybe a rat or something, chewing through the bags and getting to the food scraps inside. But there wasn't trash sewn across the way like there would usually be when an animal got into it. Then I looked closer. The bag itself was moving, distending and deforming in 1,000 different spots. The whole thing was undulating. It looked kind of like a giant jellyfish, like you might see in a low-rent aquarium. I didn't really want to check. I didn't really want to chuck that bag in. I was working around it, taking everything I possibly could that wouldn't make me touch that one. But eventually, that was it. I'd taken everything else that wasn't underneath this bag. There was nothing I could do that wouldn't disturb it. So I took a deep breath and grabbed it by the top, the only part of the bag that wasn't throbbing. I pulled it. It didn't budge. This bag was heavier than all the rest, so I squared up, planted my feet, and gave it a big heft. The bag split right down the middle. Immediately, a bulge of some sort of giant insect thing flooded out and down the sidewalk. Their bright carapaces reflected the light onto it, dazzling rainbow that hurt my eyes to look at. But at the same time, I didn't look away. Even if it was just that I could track them and make sure none of them touched me. They had 4 segments to their body and a blur of legs that I couldn't count. and the pincers. Each set of pincers must have been just about as big as the rest of the body put together. They looked deadly sharp, and I even saw a few scythes through the grass on the greenway like lawnmowers without even trying to, and these tusks dripped some kind of green pale goop that looked like it would do more than stain your clothes, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? These things seemed to not like the light, so they were scurrying this way and that, just to get into the dark. A bunch made a beeline for my truck. That's when I quit. I sprinted the 5 or so steps to the truck and drove away as fast as I could. Drove straight to the depot, didn't pick up another can. I don't know if anybody ever picked up the trash that day, but I still have nightmares about those horrible, unworldly bugs. That wasn't too bad actually, that was kind of fun. I like disgusting bug creatures in like stories. Anyways, on to the last one. This last one is called My Childhood Nightmare Came Back to Haunt Me. Back when I was in kindergarten, I used to have this recurring nightmare. It was of a ghostly figure, pitch black with no discernible features other than its menacing, glowing red eyes, looking at me from right outside my bedroom window. It never moved, made no sounds, only stared. I think what used to freak me out the most about this apparition was the fact that at the time I lived in a 3rd floor apartment, which meant that it had floated up all the way just to watch me sleep. I could feel that in my dreams. No one else ever noticed. Not my parents when they tucked me in, not the people in the building across the street who might glance out their windows, and definitely not the passers-by hurrying to their own homes. I didn't, and still don't, know why or how it was doing that, but I also didn't want to provoke it into anything more, so I always just stared back at it, paralyzed with fear. I never told my parents about these nightmares. I was afraid that they'd say I was having them because of too much Scooby-Doo and I wouldn't be allowed to watch it anymore. To my 5-year-old mind, that was far scarier than any ghost or demon it could ever be. Besides, as I said, the figure never did anything other than stare. In any case, I probably dreamt of it for less than a year. The city council decided to change the streetlights to some obscenely bright ones, so my parents got me blackout curtains. It stopped appearing in my dreams after that, and I soon stopped thinking about it altogether. Until now, that is. After years of living in college dorms and shitty shared apartments, and finally managed to save up enough to get my own place. Nothing extravagant, just 1 bedroom, a kitchen and a bathroom, but it's perfect for me. I couldn't wait to not be obligated to have the same conversations as how, yes, you do actually need to clean the sink. It isn't enough that it has water and soap in it every day, over and over again. I moved in as soon as I could, not even caring that I had no furniture except a bed and the boxes that I'm still yet to unpack. I didn't even realise it would be the first time I'd be sleeping without blackout curtains in over 2 decades. Now, as I'm locked in a staring contest with a pair of menacing, glowing red eyes, I am beginning to suspect that the nightmares of my childhood might not have just been nightmares after all. That was a nice, sort of short, sweet one. I enjoyed that one. And I think that's it for this video. I need to talk for a little bit more because I don't think that's 15 minutes. But if anything, I'll just keep on rolling the video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'm planning on making a few videos in recent times. I'm hoping to get like maybe, I don't even know, 10 videos by the end of the year, which sounds easy, but I'm busy as hell, so it's not really. A spoiler, I'm gonna be trying to do 2 challenges, and one of them is a massive game, so it might take me a really long time to do, and then the other one's quite an indie game, but they're both challenge runs. I won't say what they are just yet. I'll probably won't tell you until the video's there, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, do let me know. And yeah, have a nice night, guys. Bye bye.